To the left of the steering column, there is a little fuse box holder right here. So something you don't want to really mess with unless you have to, but it's easy to get to fairly. And then there is the ability to open up the power lift gate, dimmer switch for the interior gauges, and then you can actually turn off the power lift gate if you want to turn it off here. Let's say you go into a garage and it has a low ceiling or something, you just don't want to accidentally open it up and power lift it, you can turn that feature off. And then it has a tilt and a telescoping steering column that you lock in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat and I'm 6 feet tall. To give you an idea of the potential leg room, I pulled the seat all the way back and all the way down. And you can see there's lots of room. Here to the left, here to the right. Even if my leg didn't touch this, it's kind of soft, but it's so contoured out to where it's not really an issue. They did a good job of contouring the vehicle to match people's, position and everything. Instead of having, it's like some vehicles have this jetting out. It's like, that's where my leg's supposed to go, right? So this is designed to accommodate your leg, which is nice of them to do that. But yeah, I would say that even if you're a little bit over 6 feet tall, shouldn't really have a problem with driving this vehicle, because this is a little bit too far back for me. I do have to pull it up a little bit. Steering wheel is nice. It's wrapped up and it has a stitching there on the inside. It does kind of pop up a little bit, but it's not really a big deal to me. Some people have an issue with the stitching and a feel on leather wrapped steering wheels. It does have the heated steering wheel. It has a little switch right here, which will have an indicator light when it's turned on. It's not very bright, but it does tell you that it is turned on. And yeah, liking the steering wheel. It's not super soft or anything, but it does give a little bit in the hand in certain places. It's not bad at all. I like it. So here on the left side, it's the volume for the radio. And then you have the tracks, change to the tracks, change to the audio source. You have 2 separate buttons for your phone, so you can answer with one button, hang up with the other, and you can also mute with that button as well. This is the voice recognition button, and then this button right here corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in a second. Here on the right side is the cruise control. Once you turn it on, you can set here. You can turn on or off the lane keep assist system, which works fairly well. It just doesn't have a grip sensor, so you're constantly having to shake the steering wheel if you're not holding the steering wheel tight. And if you are holding the steering wheel tight, then it kind of fights with you, so it's kind of like a catch-22 there. But overall, once you get used to it, the subtleties of it and how to use it and all that stuff, it's okay. It's usable, but it's it could be a little bit better. If it had a grip sensor, it'd be a little bit better. Okay, so it does have the adaptive cruise control, and you have the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. You can set it, so you can go forward and back, but it doesn't so this would be increasing the distance, and this would be decreasing the distance. So when you hit this button, you're actually going back away from the car. When you're hitting forward, you're actually going away from the car. When you're hitting back, you're actually going forward. So it's a little bit, depending on how you look at it, it's kind of weird. And then this button is like a sport mode and then intelligent drive. So you just, SI drive is what they call it. But it's basically a sport mode and then just a regular mode, basically, is what it amounts to. Windshield wiper controls are here. It does have an automatic function as well. For the front and rear, you can control them there. And then here on the left side is a turn signal, but it also has a headlight switch. It has off, automatic parking, and headlights. And the fog lights are controlled here. And the gauges are fairly straightforward. You have the regular, traditional gauges. RPM tachometer here on the left side. Engine coolant temperature is on the left side as well. And then you have the fuel gauge here, and then a speedometer. But there in the center, you have a little digital screen that gives you additional information. I like a digital speedometer, me personally, so that's my preference to have it there. Right in the center, you can fairly, it's not too huge or anything, but it could be a little bit bigger, but it's still visible and all that stuff. Okay, so using this button right here, the up and down, you can get more information than this little screen scrolling up and down here. And what's interesting, it has the digital compass and all that stuff, and tire pressure, outside temperature, clock. Then you have your trips. I've been averaging like 29 miles per gallon with this vehicle, so very impressive. I was very impressed with that. Considering the size and the capability of this vehicle, all-wheel drive system and everything, very, very impressed with the fuel economy. That's great. There's a lot of new vehicles that's like they have these little tiny engines and turbocharged and all that stuff, and engines sounds like it's gonna jump out of the car trying to accelerate fast and all that stuff, and then it gets bad gas mileage on top of it. It's like, what's going on here? So this one, good gas mileage, you know, 28, 29, very close to 30. Out on the highway, it'd probably, you know, go over 30. So yeah, very impressed with the fuel economy. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward here. It's just a little bit of additional information there. You can reset the trip using this button as well. Okay, so this screen is, they've had this screen for a little while now, and it's pretty interesting. Once you get used to it, it's good. It has some information here at the top that's separate. It has this little banner. Make sure the air's not blowing on the camera. So you have this information here at the top, outside temperature, digital clock, what the status of your, you know, right now it's paired to the cell phone, and it has the Bluetooth system, and then it has the battery percentage there. And here at the bottom, you can see the center part's disconnected from the top and the bottom. The bottom is the climate control, and you can hit that button, pops up here, and you can make the adjustments. Heated seat control is a 3-stage, high, medium, and low, and off. And then you have the fan speed, and also where you want the air to blow. All that stuff is in this. Heated seat on that side as well. You can pair phones here, hit that and go into the settings, manage your devices. Then you have different user profiles here as well. The stop start feature, I always turn that off, but that's where to turn it off. You have to do it on the screen. Then you have an auto hold function. Default is off. You can turn it on if you want the vehicle to hold the brake for you when you come to a complete stop. You also get information about the vehicle here. This is your different settings, and it's categorized here at the top. Go back to your home button, and this is where you'll find these tiles similar to like a cell phone. And there's different media sources, Bluetooth, USB, iPod, phone, auxiliary input. And then the radio is separate. And it has AM, FM, and satellite radio. And then your presets and all that stuff's here. Look at the navigation map. And you can expand it a little bit. It just basically shows the sky. But it is, you know, make it more focused on the map, I guess. You can have a 3D or you can have 2D. You can pop up the menu here, and you can search and all that stuff, add to your favorites and all that stuff. Go into your settings as well. Let's go back to the home screen. You have the different apps here: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Travel Link, which is very handy. Now the My Subaru, this is an app on your cell phone, so if you want to connect that, you can. Just make sure you read the user and privacy notices and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. It's pretty basic. You have this disconnected from this, and this is separate from this. You have a row of tiles here, and then you have the climate control at the bottom. Once you get used to it, it's not a big deal at all. So you have the auxiliary input, USB-A and USB-C ports here. There is a wireless charger here, but in practice, haven't really had very good luck with this particular one because it's not very rubberized. It's very smooth plastic. So as I'm driving, my cell phone with the case on it doesn't always charge when I put it on there. So I was like, I got an idea. I'll take the case off, you know. And I put this phone there, and it just slides all over the place because this isn't rubberized, and it's like a smooth. There's just like there's no place for it to stay, you know, and it's not rubberized. So basically, the phone just slides all over the place and doesn't charge anyway. So yeah, I think that if they were actually used this wireless charger before they shipped the vehicle out, I think they would have seen that, because I like the first 5 minutes of driving the vehicle, it became a big deal. So it seems like they just slapped this in there without actually trying it out, or they thought this was going to be a more aggressive rubber on it. It has like a tiny little bit of rubber feel to it, but it's not enough to actually keep things from sliding around. It's very slick, really. So yeah, that's a big failure right there. It's just ridiculous that is designed that way. But yeah, I'm sure there's a way, maybe there's some thing, you know, some solution for that. But yeah, as it is, it's pretty much worthless. It's just a exercise in frustration, really. Okay, so here is the shifter, and let's go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see the backup camera. So you can see this camera is the position of it, remember I mentioned when we were looking at the back of the vehicle, it's down there next to the tag and it's offset. And so you can see that it's kind of in this spot where you have this tunnel vision, you know, and it's trying to give you this wide view to give you more visibility, but at the same time the vehicle's getting in the way. And also the clarity isn't all that great. The resolution isn't good. You know, this backup camera could definitely be improved, you know. Starting with the position of it. The position would help out a lot if it was in a better position. And of course, you know, higher resolution. Plus you have this huge screen and and it's kind of like you're utilizing only a small portion of it. So yeah, the whole camera system could definitely be improved. And also it being offset. So you see more of this side of the tag than this. So we're not even looking at the center of the vehicle here. It's like in this offset position. So it's hard to judge where the end of the vehicle is. These lines are supposed to line up with the vehicle, but I'd have to test those. They sure don't look like it, you know. So it does have the active guidelines here. So I would have to actually test those with some kind of road cones or something, because they, you know, an offset vehicle like that, if it doesn't have a center line that's, you know, showing you, then it's suspect anyway. So yeah, that's another thing that could be improved. There's neutral, drive. It does have a manual mode, which you can put it over here in manual mode and then use the ratchet shift. No, you can use the, not ratchet shifters. Some of them have that. This one has the paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel. Now, it doesn't have traditional gears. It's a CVT system, but it simulates kind of like gears, but it's actually speed ratio. So you can raise and lower the speed ratios, like if you need engine braking, that kind of thing, going down a hill. You just have some control over the shift points, basically, and it's speed shifts. It's a CVT, so there's no gears. There's no real gears to shift through. Okay, so the electronic parking brake here is here. You just lift it up. It engages the rear wheels, and it has a little indicator light. You just hold the brake to release it. And there's some cup holders here. There's these little arms right there. 12-volt power supply. I like the way, I'm glad it has a little cover, because when it's facing up like that, dust and stuff can get in there. And it has this little pen holder, little cubby right there. It's handy. This armrest is soft and comfortable, and it feels good too. Looks and feels nice. It doesn't slide forward or back or anything. It does lift up, and it stays where you leave it. It doesn't flop down, and it doesn't try to spring up. It just, wherever you let it go, it just stays there. I love that. So bring it up all the way, and then it has this little places for wires to go in and out of the compartment here. And then here's the compartment, and there's no light or anything in there. It does have a felt lining. I got my business cards down in there, so at least the camera can focus on something, because it just looks like an abyss, you know, basically. But yeah, there's nothing special in there. Just a junk drawer, basically. Okay, so the rear view mirror, it's a manual rear view mirror. It's a manual day and night mode. You have some lights here. Tap lights. You can have the interior lights turn on with the door or not with using the switch, but it's not illuminated, so you kind of have to squint your eyes and try to figure it out. So this side is off, this side is door. So when you open the door now, it'll turn on the interior lights. There's a place to put your shades in here, and it has like a kind of soft material in there to keep them, you know, I guess they won't scratch, but it's not like it's not like a cushion or anything, but it's pretty good size. You can put some big Hollywood glasses in there. You do have some roadside assistance buttons here as well. The visors have the same cloth material, just like the headliner, which is a black cloth. Has a single light and a mirror. There's also, instead of having like it pulls out and slides, it has this extension here. So when we put it right there, it kind of fills in the gap a little bit. There's also a little clip right here for putting a registration or something. Okay, so this sunroof, it has a shade that covers 100% of the light. And it's manual. You can manually open it like so. It goes way up in there if you just want some sun to come in. But let's go ahead and close it. And let's go ahead and slide this open. So if we want to open it up, we can push that. And it not only pulls back the glass, but also the shade at the same time. And we can press it again. So right here, let's press it again. It'll go all the way back, like so. And then when we push forward, it'll pull the shade forward. So even though it's like a manual shade, it's also automatic as well, kind of. So we can manually open it up and close it as well. So looking at the visibility, really good actually. So you have those windows back there, relatively small pillars really, and then the headrests kind of line up with the pillars. And look at that big back glass, so you can see really good back there. Hadn't had any problem with visibility, front, sides, or back really. And of course, has the camera system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, all that stuff to help you out as well.